If I want to see stupid things said about professional wrestling, I can either watch other YouTube videos by other people about professional wrestling. Plenty of stupid stuff being said there. Sometimes, frankly, I can turn on my own videos and watch some of the stuff I've said in the past, and the stupid couple runneth over. Sometimes I could just look at the comments on my videos and I see some of the stupid and ridiculous things I've said. So again, I get my fill. I can look at people's tweets and post on various forms of social media, and I get the message. So a lot of people have a lot of stupid ideas and thoughts about professional wrestling. I'll fit into that category. I'm throwing myself under the bus. That's why I mentioned watching my own videos. But with that said, it always astounds me that as much as I think the stupid cup runneth over from different sources of fans and wrestling media, if you will, when it comes to stupid things being said about professional wrestling, that I'm never disappointed in this sense is that when it comes to the most stupid and ridiculous things being said about professional wrestling, it's the people involved in professional wrestling, currently in professional wrestling, or that have been in professional wrestling in the past, that consistently deliver the most ridiculous and ludicrous, stupid things about the business that can possibly be imagined. I just sit there and I go, wow, the stupidity astounds me. And it's even more frightening when the chairman and CEO of the number one wrestling company in the world is the one making these stupid and ridiculous statements and assertions. And I'll be doing a few videos this week talking about Vince McMahon's appearance on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast after Monday Night Raw on the WWE Network, just talking about some of the stupid shit that came out of Vince McMahon's mouth. But today's topic that I want to talk about is the fact that Vince said, when prompted to and asked by Austin and pressed by Austin why Cesaro wasn't a bigger deal, why Cesaro wasn't getting a push, Vince McMahon basically refers to two things: Cesaro's lack of charisma and lack of it factor. When somebody like Vince says that, I just really wonder, does he just fucking not get it? Is he that out of touch with his performers, with his fan base, with himself, with his product, that he actually believes the crap that comes out of his diarrhea hole now at age 69? I really wonder. Because let's be realistic here. There have been plenty of top guys in the WWF, WWF, going even further back, the WWE, throughout the company's history, top guys, plenty of them, world champions, that are very similar to Cesaro in the fact that they don't have that outgoing, overflowing, kind of exuberant, flamboyant personality that's just going to grab you by the nutsack and pull you in. I love him. I'm a big fan, but back in the WWF days, Mr. Bob Backlund was the world champ for 6 years for the territory. Fans were chanting "Howdy Doody." It's not good. He was never a guy that is a babyface that had that incredibly outgoing personality, really had that so-called charisma or it factor. Go to the new generation time. Look at Bret Hart. Nobody's ever going to accuse Bret Hart of being the most flamboyant and charismatic personality in the damn world. And I'll throw another name in there, Diesel. Part of the reason Diesel ever became a champion was not because of his incredible charisma or his incredible it factor. It was the fact that in a time where the company's average size of performer was shrinking a little bit due to the steroid testing, he was one of the guys that stayed the same damn size. He was huge. That's why they made him a champion. And you look at today's product, and you look at somebody like Randy Orton. And even the biggest Orton fans would have to admit and be honest that this guy does not have it when it comes to the great overflowing charisma and it factor, that ability to grab you again by the nuts and pull you in. He just doesn't have it. But yet Mr. Bob Backlund held the WWF Championship for 6 years. Bret Hart and Diesel were two top guys during the post-Hogan era. And Randy Orton has won double-digit world championships during his 12 years in the WWE. What the fuck makes Cesaro so different? Now, here's my thing. And maybe some fans don't understand this. Maybe some people in the business don't seem to understand this. And maybe Vince McMahon himself doesn't understand this. Charisma can mean a lot of different things. Charisma is not always the same for everybody in terms of how it's expressed or how it's possessed or had. The biggest thing to me that charisma represents ultimately is an ability to connect with the audience. It's an ability to get people invested in what you're doing. Now, how a Hulk Hogan may have done that and how a, let's say, Bret Hart may have done that were two entirely different things. But to sit there and say flat out that Hulk Hogan had all the charisma in the world, even though he did, but Bret Hart had absolutely none, isn't entirely true. It's not telling an accurate story. Bret Hart's way of connecting with the audience was different than the way that Hogan did. The way that they connected was in part based off of their character, so it fit who they were. If you tried to have Bret Hart be Hulk Hogan, it wouldn't work. If you tried to have Hulk Hogan be Bret Hart, God knows, that wouldn't fucking work. But to sit there and say that a Cesaro doesn't have charisma or doesn't have that it factor is just ludicrous. Because by that measure, Diesel didn't have it. By that measure, freaking Mr. Bob Backlund didn't have it. By that measure, Bret Hart didn't have it. By that measure, Randy fucking Orton, a guy that you consistently pound down our fucking throats over the past decade, doesn't have it. And when you look at a guy like Cesaro, even if he did have it, Vince, does it fucking matter? You know, the one thing about people as we get older is we tend to lose patience. And we tend to want a quicker resolution of things. Maybe it's in part because we feel like, time's going by quicker. We have less of it as we get older. I'm a lot less patient now at 33 than I was at 23 and anticipate being even less patient at 43 and then again at 53, 63, God willing, I live that long. Now you look at Vince McMahon at age 69 running this company. His father time isn't on his side. He knows, I think, somewhere down in his soul, if he has one, that he's not going to live forever. So the whole talk of wanting to spend years investing in new characters and trying to build it for the future of the company, Vince frankly doesn't give a shit. He might pay it lip service. He might think it's a great idea. But at the end of the day, he has no investment in that because he knows he's not going to be around forever. He knows at some point in time it's just not going to matter to him because he's either going to be in a convalescent home or he's going to be fucking dead. But when you look at a guy like a Cesaro, is it his fault that he doesn't have the most outgoing, flamboyant personality? Is that a problem for him? Is that really a problem? Or is that, in a way, what his character is and who he is as a performer? And wouldn't that be, in a theory, as a result, his way to connect with the audience, being that type of physical guy that is buttoned down and is serious, similar to what a Bret Hart was? Because even if a Cesaro had the most outgoing personality and charisma in the entire world, I defy and challenge Vince to tell me how he would be in any fucking different position on the goddamn card than he is right now. How could you sit there and say that to any fans or to Austin or even to yourself, excuse me, with a straight damn face? Knowing damn good and well that a lot of the problem with the product today is a representation of Vince, a reflection of Vince due to his lack of patience with character development, with storyline development, and with the presentation of the product, just everything. It's a reflection of Vince McMahon and his increasing age and his decreasing patience and his decreasing, if it's even still there, touch and grasp on reality. You look at Cesaro. You saddled him with a freaking rugby player gimmick because that was ever going to get him over. Then you made it a deal about him piggybacking off of that he had the ability to speak 5 languages, and that was going to fucking get him over. How? Then you stick him with the Real Americans, which, how was that really supposed to get him over? Funny thing is, because it's the WWE, the heels get over as faces, the faces don't get over, and if they do, they only get over as heels, so it's all completely ass backwards. Cesaro kind of starts to get over, gets a little bit of a following, you get the Cesaro swing, people are really popping for it. It's getting a traditional kind of babyface pop. So you tell them to stop fucking using the move. Then we sit there and get to the point, then that maybe was after WrestleMania 30, but you get the idea. You get to WrestleMania 30, start to send him on his way, you break him off from Swagger and Coulter, you have him eliminate Big Show, win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, only to the next night, now as you've really set the table and you've really set the tone for this guy to really take off as a babyface, and clearly at this point in time, the crowd is really getting behind this guy because frankly, he's getting one of the best reactions of any damn buddy on your freaking product. You immediately align him with Paul Heyman. You give a guy that was positioned to be babyface, that you had gotten ready to turn babyface, you gave him a fucking heater. All of the charisma in the world isn't going to compensate for this level of stupidity. All of the outgoing, flamboyant personality and the mic skills in the world isn't going to compensate for this crappy booking and this crappy character development and this crappy storytelling. When have you frankly ever given anybody a reason to give a fuck about Cesaro in any way, shape, or form as a character? When have you ever done anything to actually develop a real, viable character with Cesaro? It doesn't fucking matter one way or another if he has this flamboyant, outgoing, over-the-top personality or not. How could anybody in today's toxic WWE creative environment with the senile, out-of-touch, over-the-hill, and off his rocker Vince McMahon running the show, how is anybody ever going to fucking get over? For Vince McMahon to sit there and say that a Cesaro doesn't have charisma, doesn't have the it factor, just shows how delusional this man really is at this point in time, and just how out of touch he is with reality and the business, his company, his performers, his product, his fans, every fucking body. You take a guy that you're positioning for a babyface run and you align him with the guy that just the night before literally was aligned with the guy that became the one in 21-1 by ending the Undertaker's streak. Then instead of making it about Cesaro, you make it about Paul Heyman, and without there really being any payoff to it, you just split off Cesaro from Paul Heyman, then you job him, and then sometimes you put him on TV, and sometimes you fucking don't. But more often than not, if you put him on TV, you're jobbing him out. Why are you doing this? And how dare Vince McMahon sit there and blame anybody for a lack of charisma or a lack of it factor? Because number one, to say Cesaro doesn't have it is completely ridiculous, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to use Vince's logic here to make the argument in favor of me and against his ridiculously senile, over-the-hill ass, the only thing that matters is that the fans react and that the fans care, right? So as a result, when the fans are popping big time for Cesaro, for his Cesaro swing, for him and his moves, for him and his matches, for him and his work ethic, for him and everything about him, wouldn't that kind of mean that this guy has it? Wouldn't that mean he has an ability to connect with the audience, which ultimately is what charisma is? It's an ability to connect in his own way that matches the character, which is what he was able to do. So he has it. Vince just doesn't have a clue. He doesn't remember his own company's history. He doesn't remember his own history. He just has no understanding of what's going on anymore. And he has zero willingness to blame himself for the ridiculous state of the WWE creative product today. It's obvious. It's that simple. To sit there and say that Cesaro isn't a top guy because he doesn't have charisma or the it factor, instead of blaming it on poor character development, terrible booking, terrible storytelling, nonsensical character turns, de-pushing, and burials on television, removal from said television, is just stupidity of the highest order. I'm sure plenty of people are all giggly tits about McMahon appearing on Austin's podcast, and that's fine, whatever. Austin, Vince together again. Hell yeah! Well, I tell you what, I say, hell no! Because it was incredibly insightful. And a lot of what I heard Vince say basically validated everything that I believe about him and the WWE today. I feel bad for a guy like Cesaro, somebody I like, talented performer, that's never going to get a fucking fair shake because of an idiot like Vince McMahon.